Hello, welcome to this episode of the Adapted Ambitions podcast. Today, our topic is the world of work has changed. Have you? I think that this is a very important subject to talk about because for many people, things might look really calm on the surface. Maybe you're even coasting in your job right now. But under the surface, the world of work is shifting fast, and you need to really be aware of that and move accordingly. There are mass layoffs, record profits. AI is everywhere, completely transforming people's jobs and careers. There are loads of return to office mandates, and there are a growing number of people who just want to build their life on their own terms. And this isn't necessarily just for tech founders or startup people. If you're mid-career and you want long-term career success and freedom and fulfillment, then you actually need to really understand what's happening. So today we're going to be breaking down what's changed, what that means for you, and how to make sure that you don't get left behind. I'm Offonry, and this is Adapted Ambitions. So before we dive in, let's look at the data. You know, I always love starting off with the data. Meta laid off 600 people from its FAIR AI research lab in 2024, just months before launching a new superintelligence lab with billions of funding to poach top AI and machine learning talent from places like Google DeepMind and OpenAI. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, collectively, they've cut thousands and thousands of jobs since 2023, despite delivering record profits to shareholders. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are now enforcing 5 days a week return to work mandate across many divisions, which is a sharp shift from the pandemic flexibility that everybody enjoyed. And meanwhile, in the UK, 46% of employers are still hybrid, 29% are pushing for a return to office. So the rules are all over the place. Here's what MIT found recently, that the way that companies implement AI determines whether it enhances productivity or creates chaos. Firms that invested in AI, change management, and training saw far better results than those that just dumped the tools on their teams without any support. So as you can see, so many things are happening in the world of work. It's shifting every day. If I were to kind of pull together all of the themes that the data is showing, it shows that, one, layoffs and record profits now go hand in hand. So even if you feel safe and secure in your current role, you're safe until you're suddenly not. And this isn't about fear mongering. It is a reality. A lot of people that got let go weren't let go for bad performance, and it came out of the blue for a lot of them. So you're safe until you're not. Companies are actually cutting costs in order to boost margins for shareholders, not necessarily because they're struggling, they're optimizing, and AI has enabled some of this optimization. And so if you're not positioned as an essential employee, then the reality is that you're vulnerable, right? And so you've got to ask yourself the question, if this job disappeared tomorrow, what would I do? What are my options? Are you focusing on building out those options while you still feel safe and secure in your current role? The other shift to note is that AI is reshaping jobs massively, but that's also happening in an uneven way. If you're not paying attention to the impact that AI is having on the workforce broadly, but specifically on your industry, then you may be getting left behind already. The thing to note about how AI operates is that it makes mediocre work faster. It doesn't make mediocre work great. So if your job is mostly execution, like if you're writing code, creating standard reports, managing spreadsheets, AI makes you less valuable because now anyone can do that with ChatGPT or Copilot. But if you're somebody who thinks strategically, solves complex problems, has taste and judgment, has a high emotional quotient, then AI makes you more valuable because it means that with AI, you can now operate at multiple times the speed that you would have been able to historically. So the question I want to ask is, are you using AI to amplify your thinking, or are you threatened by it and refusing to engage? The third shift that we're seeing in the industry at large is that portfolio careers are definitely rising fast. So a lot of of people are realizing that they can convert their experience and their knowledge into income. So increasingly, we're seeing things like consulting, fractional work, coaching, advisory. People are doing all of these alongside their full-time 9-to-5 jobs. And if you've built deep expertise in a specific areas, it only makes sense that you should absolutely get paid for it. A few hours a month, a side project, a retained advisory role, all of those things are value both to your customers, but also to yourself as well. So the key thing that you can ask yourself at this point is, what could you get paid to advise on? Even if it was just for a few hours in a month, what do people typically come to you for help with? The other shift that we're seeing, shift number 4, is that people are absolutely rejecting old markers of success. So title and tenure used to mean everything. But now success looks more like, working from Lisbon in October, or going to pick up your daughter from school at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and doing meaningful work with clients that you like, and not necessarily working with clients that you don't want to work with. This is becoming the norm. You just need a strategy to be able to access it. And so you want to ask yourself, are you still optimizing for old definitions of success? Or are you clear on what you individually actually want? Although there have been shifts in the workplace and the world of work, there are a few things that haven't shifted yet. The fundamentals still matter, for example. So having deep technical skill in your area of expertise, clarity of thought, the ability to communicate, these things never go out of style. The second thing is that relationships still drive opportunities. Most of the best roles that I've filled didn't necessarily always go to the person with the best resume. It would often go to someone that was referred, or someone that the interviewer or employer felt they could get on well with the most. So key thing to note here is that networking isn't dead. I know for a lot of people, networking is a swear word. But networking isn't dead. Unfortunately, cold applications are significantly less effective. Third thing is that positioning matters more than ever. So if you have, for example, 2 candidates with identical experience, and one of them just says, I'm a software engineer with 10 years of experience, and the other says, I'm a specialist in building low latency trading system for systematic funds. The person that is clear and specific, the latter of the two, will typically get the interview. So specificity definitely wins. There are 3 things I want you to take away from this podcast. The first is, your job security is no longer about tenure. And I know that back in the day, it really paid to be loyal to your employer, and you could expect to work 30, 40 years and be sent off with a great pension. That doesn't work in today's world. Security comes from adaptability, from your manager knowing that you have options and ensuring that they do what it takes to retain you, from knowing your value in the market relative to, your peers and competitors, and ensuring that you're constantly positioning yourself so that you're at the forefront of where the market is going. That awareness shifts how you show up on a day-to-day basis, but it also shifts how your current employers treat you. The second thing I would like you to take away from today's episode is that you don't necessarily need to take a pay cut when you pivot. I've seen this time and time again. People assume that if they want more freedom or purpose in their work, then it has to come with less money, that there's always a trade-off there. And don't get me wrong, there's sometimes a trade-off. That's just the reality if you're moving from one thing to another, but it's not true in every case. What you need is a plan. What you need is a strategy. You do need to start early, and you do need to be consistent, but it's absolutely possible. The third thing I want to leave you with is, you need to start building your options now. I often see people saying, you know what? I want to leave my job. I wish I could have left yesterday. That's not a great way to navigate this. If you see yourself potentially wanting to pivot in the next year, the next 2 to 3 years, you need to start working on it today. The people who win in this market aren't necessarily always the smartest ones. They're the ones that took action before they had to. So start now, start quietly. Over time, all of your efforts will compound. Here are a few things that you can do this week. I'm going to leave you with 3 things. The first thing is audit your positioning. right? You need to be able to describe what you do in really simple, very specific terms that really demonstrates how you add value. So not just I'm a project manager, but I'm a technical project manager that works with financial services companies. Something of that nature. The second thing is I would definitely recommend that if you haven't played around with generative AI, that you do so. So if you're not using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Copilot every day, you're already being left behind. So pick one tool, spend 15 minutes today learning it, and figure out how you can use it to amplify your work, not necessarily to replace your thinking, but to accompany your thinking. I love using ChatGPT as a brainstorming partner, but I'm definitely the driver here rather than ChatGPT. The third thing is build one new relationship this month. Reach out to someone in your field that you've admired, not to necessarily ask for a job, but to learn and to connect. A lot of opportunities that you're going to be seeking in the future will come from these relationships, not from applications. And note that you will also be of value to these people that you're reaching out to and connecting with as well. And imagine a world in which between the people that you've made connections with, none of you have to look too long for a job because somebody is always able to refer you to someone else or refer you to a position that really makes a difference in your job search. So be that person that is proactive. Reach out to someone you admire or someone you're curious about and make that connection with them. So if you want more tactical strategies like this every week, join my newsletter. You're going to get market intelligence, career frameworks, and my free career decision scorecard. Go to offonry.com to sign up. And if you're navigating high stakes career decisions, for example, evaluating offers, planning a pivot, negotiating compensation, transitioning from one job or career to another, I work one-on-one with engineers, quants, technical leaders through my advisory practice. You can go to offonry.com/advisory for more information on that. That's it for this week's episode. Next time, I'm going to be talking about redundancy after 40 and how to reinvent yourself when the rug gets pulled from under you. So you don't want to miss it. I'm Offonry. You've been listening to Adapted Ambitions. See you next time.